Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are now here on Cut 27, a big video here. I see a lot of people trying to figure out what to do with their teams, all that kind of stuff. That'll be in a later video. Today, we're going to be talking about the new defensive settings they added, and I'm going to be telling you guys the best settings to use and what maybe we need to lab up a little more to see how it actually works. But there's a lot of cool things added. Maybe people don't know the defensive meta yet, or that there's so many ways you can run defense this year that you might be able to run your own little scheme. So all you got to do is go to your defensive settings. You have to do this in game, so they don't save. I tried practice mode going back out, it doesn't save. So all you got to do is go to coach adjustments once you're on defense. All this stuff looks fairly similar to last year, as you can see going through, but some things are new in this category with the defender aggression. You can mess with that however you want. It's not game changing. I don't think gap integrity, not game changing. So go how you want with this. It needs a little more testing, I think. Option read key, RPO, all that type of stuff. That's based off your in-game situation. If your opponent's running that, you want your defense to guard it a certain way, then you adjust it. Cornerback depth, as you can see, this is new. You could see how far off the line of scrimmage you want your cornerback to be. I think if your corners aren't the best in the game, it's probably just all around better to have them around 9. If you want to be a little risky, play a little closer up, go 7 unless you're completely pressing. I don't think there's no use of 3 and 5 unless you're in like a cover 2. So I think 7 is like you really trust your corners. 9 is probably a good safe spot. Press, obviously, if you're pressing your corners, that's fine. Cornerback width, I think cornerbacks, when they line up on the outside, I think they're perfectly fine. I don't think you have to put them tight, wide, or anything like that. I would keep these default. Safety depth, I think 9 to 12 is perfectly fine. I do think in a scenario, if you're running cover 4, you do probably want them slightly closer to the line, so probably 9 would be better. But just general 12, 16 if they have to get back in like a cover 2 or something like that, but 9 if you're in a cover 4, 12 for all around type of stuff. And then safety width, leave it alone. Unless you're in cover 4. Cover 4 is like a big like difference because of how the safeties have to play. So pinching them would probably be better to save the seam routes. But let's go to here. Coverage strategy. This is all brand new. Zone strategy, plaster trigger, plaster time, roll coverage, zone drops, all that type of stuff. I personally think plaster should be turned off. It just means when you have it on aggressive, once it's kind of like match coverage. Once someone crosses their face, it seems like they're just going to take them. Conservative means if they're away from the quarterback, same type of thing. They'll kind of follow the nearest receiver. They won't do it. It seems kind of cool, but I'll turn it off because I don't want to be in a situation where DB thinks the play's not going to them, and then he runs across the field and he's not in his zone, and then it's a completed pass. And then if you have plaster off, you don't need plaster trigger time or plaster time. Roll coverage, this is kind of cool. This just means your defense is set base. So you know, most people know what a cover 2 looks like, a cover 3 looks like. But let's say your opponent comes out in trips, right? We know the strong side of the field is 2, the 3 receiver side. So you can roll your coverage to pass strength. I think that's kind of cool. I think this is what I'm going to be rocking from now on. Rolling the coverage to the 3 receiver side, make it a little bit harder for that quarterback to go through his progressions. So I'm going to be doing that. The zone drops are the same as last year. Adjust them throughout the game. So now moving on to the coverage strategies. These are the newest things added. I know we went over the coverage strategy in the general here, but these are all brand new here. This is against certain formations. So you can see here, man coverage check versus stack, man coverage check versus bunch. So if the receivers are stacked, one behind another, that is what stacked is. One receiver behind another. And then the other one is bunch. We all know what bunch looks like. It's a very meta formation. The things for stack, we have combo and lock and default. Default means it's going to run man like every other Madden. They'll follow their guy. Lock also means it's definitely the same exact thing lock and default, I feel like are the same thing. They'll just lock onto the defender, run with them like normal, no switching. But the best thing they added this year was combo. This is the closest we can get to real life adjustments. Normally, if a slot corner or slot safety and corner are very good, they run what we call combo, and combo means um, if one receiver and the other receiver are next to each other, and the slot corner and the outside corner are next to each other, the slot corner is going to take any route that comes inside, and the outside corner is going to take any route that goes outside. So that'll stop any bumping possibly going on or any corners colliding with each other, because that does happen in real life if you don't combo it. So it just stops bumping a lot. I do think combo is the best thing you can do against stack for these adjustments here. So running combo is definitely the move. Now we have our check for bunch. You can see default, point combo, and lock. Same meanings as the other man coverage check. So we're going to be always going to point lock. This just means if it's in bunch, the inside and bunch, it's usually a linebacker, a corner, and an outside corner in this situation guarding people in man. So the outside the outside corner will take any routes that come outside, no matter who it is, the first receiver, the second receiver, or the third receiver. The outside receiver is taking the route that goes out, and the inside linebacker is taking any route that goes in. And that middle receiver that will be on the line of scrimmage is always going to be guarded by that slot corner or safety, whatever it is. So they won't ever switch, nothing like that. They'll always be guarded on them. I do think if you're running this in game, I wouldn't press that second receiver. So this is just really good for not getting bumps, because you can get a lot of bumped DBs in this bunch formation. So them being able to switch on inside routes and outside routes, that is perfect. I've personally been running man, and this is what I've been running. It's been working even against the really good teams. But let's move on to cover three. Cover three here. There's cover three match, cover three check versus bunch, and trips. I'll talk about this a little bit as we go through, but only adjust these because you gotta think this is all pre-play right before the game starts. If this is your base coverage, adjust it. Only adjust these if you are switching to this coverage. So if you're like, oh, maybe a cover 4 could work against this person, adjust the cover 4 ones. Or a cover 3 can work, adjust the cover 3 ones. You won't have enough time to put point combo, and do cover 3, cover 4, cover 6. You won't be able to do that pre-play. You won't be able to get that done all the first time. So now you go to cover 3 here. Cover 3 match stack, just against stack receivers. You can get zone it and seam. So default match means that they're going to follow like normal. Zone it means even though you're in cover 3 match, they will go do their job. If your slot corner is in a flat or your safety is in a flat, he is going to the flat. He won't follow nobody. The deep thirds are going deep. They won't match on to any routes. And then this is seam. This is only has to do with the slot corners. We all know in cover 3, most of the time you're going to look to throw that seam pass quickly. This just means your slot corner will cover the seam and then go do his job. But sometimes I don't think this is the move, because sometimes they might have a check down out right away. So usually I might try to guard that with my user. So I'll just usually go zone it, have them go to the flat. And then if they throw seam routes, have that be your user. Possible switch stick situation. And now we have cover 3 versus bunch. You have skate, skinny, and skinny meg. Skate, I'll read it out to you guys. Underneath the zone defenders, widen their drops and shift toward the bunch side of the field. Good for taking away flood concepts. So this just means that roll coverage we were talking about earlier. It just means your defense is going to make it look a lot a lot more tight on that side of the field. There's gonna seem like there's a lot more people over there than there really is. You're just shifting your coverage over a little bit. The coverage doesn't change. Um, and then we have skinny. Skinny means cornerbacks follow the receiver if the route goes deep. The seam defender picks up two, outside and vertical. Hook defenders read number 3 receiver and match on specific routes. Underneath defenders can swap assignments based on how routes develop. So that just means the flat defender and the linebacker read 2 to 3. Remember, this is in bunch. And how you know what number receiver they are, you have to go from the sideline over. So sideline, the closest to the sideline is 1, 2, and 3 as you get to the ball. So number 2 receivers in the middle, number 3 receivers closest to the quarterback. So this means if the number 2 receiver goes outside and vertical, the slot corner will pick it up. If anything goes inside, that's where the hook will go. So that is what skinny is. That is a pretty good concept. So nobody's like colliding with each other, even in zone and cover 3 match. But now we have skinny Meg. I think skinny in general is really good to do, but I think skinny Meg is the thing you want to do depending on what they run. So think about skinny. That's exactly what it is. It's still included in this check. But then you have Meg on top. Meg just means the opposite side. Usually there's only one receiver on that other side of the field against that one corner in that deep third. All this does is it makes that corner have a one-on-one, which means he's in man coverage, and no matter what, it'll stop a lot of those routes because you can run cover 3, you could be bagging your opponent, and then he'll throw that comeback backside, and your deep third doesn't guard it because he's in a deep third. Meg just means he's going to be manned up on that side. Yeah, it's a little risky, but if you trust him, I would trust my DB out there to do it. I think this guards a lot more routes and makes it a lot harder for an offense to operate. So I would run skinny Meg against bunch. And it's the same scenario here. We have skate, skinny, and skinny Meg. I would be running skinny Meg, giving my corner on the backside that one-on-one with this, and then on the strong side, the slot corner and the linebacker reading 2 to 3. So pretty simple for cover 3. Obviously, adjust if this is the coverage you run. You don't gotta go through do all of these pre-game or pre-play for the first play of the game. Just do the zone you do and adjust as the game goes on. All right, so now we have quarters and palms. Quarters and palms are completely different coverages, even though they are both cover 4. I can read it out to you. Quarters, cornerback follows number 1 deep. Safety matches 2 vertical. Flat defender takes number 2 to the flat. Underneath defender handles number 3. Defender swap based on routes. So if you look at quarters, and then we have zone it. That's all we have, quarters. Cornerback follows the outside receiver if his route goes deep enough. Safety picks up inside receiver number 2 if he runs vertical. So if he runs a streak, anything. Usually in real life, I think 10, 12 yards is when you should know that someone's going vertical. They're probably not going to break. And that's when the safety would take them. If 2 goes to the flat instead, the flat defender takes number 2, and the linebacker looks for 3. That's all that is, and then zone it. So normally, this is very situational. I do think quarters is pretty nice here, but if you don't want your safety getting pulled out the play, just put zone it. This is what your preference is. I think I would do zone it unless he's running 2 streaks often. I'd probably do zone it and try to switch stick. Bunch, yeah, box, bingo, and zone it. Box is against the bunch. Each defender is responsible for a direction. Cornerback takes the first receiver who goes outside. So that's the outside corner taking the first receiver who goes out. The safety takes the first who goes deep inside. So any receiver that goes 10 to 12 yards down the field, that safety is going to bite. And then the flat defender is the first to the flat. And the underneath defender is the first short inside. So that's the linebacker. That is what box is. And then bingo, same rules as box, but it also means same thing as skinny Meg. That outside corner is going to be guarding that number 1 receiver alone one-on-one out there, but it also gives you a poach safety, I guess. That safety on that weak side gives you a free roam player. You could put him in a half if you want, make it kind of like a cover six, but this just means that outside corner is a man, and that safety on the left side can do whatever he wants. So I usually will go bingo there. And then here you have quarters, stress, and zone it. Quarters, we talked about quarters. Now we have stress. This is good against like verticals plays, like 4 verticals, that kind of stuff. I think this is pretty good. I think I will be running stress most of the time. Um, it just really is if your DBs are in a normal zone, but you're running a verticals, they'll start to drop, but they won't go chasing out of their zone and that kind of stuff. They'll just slowly drop with the coverage, how far the receivers are running. So stress is the move there in cover 4. Now we have one receiver, weak side. You see solo cut, quarters. Solo means, well, like I was talking about before in bingo, solo just means that cornerback side's one-on-one. And that safety that's on his side is the poach player. Poach players are kind of like the Ed Reed of players. They get to go around, be a ball hawk. You get to try to lurk crossers, that kind of stuff. You have to trust that weak side corner though to do solo cut. To do solo, if you do solo cut, that means the safety on his side and the current corner are going to be kind of switching off certain routes, and then you have quarters and play normal rules. I would do solo, trust that corner out there, and you have a free user to run around with if that's how you want to go about it. Same scenario here. One receiver tight to line of scrimmage, quarter, solo cut, and solo. You want to do solo. I think trusting that one-on-one, I'll always do that on defense. And now we have palms. This is palms. The cornerbacks read number 2, so the outside corner and the slot corner read the second receiver. If 2 goes to the flat, the cornerback on the outside jumps to the flat route, and the safety takes number 1, which means the first receiver closest to the sideline will take that. So it'll kind of look like a cover 2 if the second receiver goes to the flat. I think that's pretty nice. So I do think that is the move. Palms is ran a lot in real life because you are supposed to jump on that flat if you trust your safety, if that's the call, you're jumping on that. That could be a pick 6 if the quarterback thinks it's a cover 4 and you're dropping. You could kind of shuffle a little bit, bait the deeper route, and then jump on that little flat route. Obviously, we can't tell our corners to do that in game, but that's kind of how it works in real life. And then the safety will take that deep route that goes past the corner. And then we have the same scenario here in bunch. We have box, bingo, and zone it. We talked about bingo. Bingo means the corner on the strong side of the field has a chance if that outside receiver goes outside and deep, that cornerback locks on in man-to-man instead of having a deep quarter. So if you keep him in a quarter, for example, he's going to just sink back, and slowly keep sinking. And then a corner route, maybe late in the play, could be open if that's what he's running. But if you put bingo, that corner route would get guarded because it is in man coverage now because he went vertical. So I think bingo's the move, guarding those routes, maybe later developing plays. Now we have against trips, we have stubby and we have stump. I don't personally like stump. I think stubby is the move. Cornerback follows number 1 everywhere, man to man. The nickel and the safety underneath share coverage on 2 and 3 using palm style. So that just means they are reading the number 3 receiver closest to the ball, and if he goes to the flat, the corner will jump on the flat and the safety will take the 2. That's exactly the same scenario as the outside corner and slot corner or safety, whatever the scenario is. And now we have palm check 1. We have solo cut, quarters. In all these situations, you want to do solo cut, quarters. If you don't trust your outside corner one-on-one, you could do solo cut. That'll help them out a little bit. But now moving to cover 6. Um, it says cover 6, check stack, bunch, and trips. We go here, cover 6 quarters, and zone it, and palms. Palms is pretty cool. I think in cover 6, you really just do want to zone it. You don't want to try to do too much with switching and everything like this. Cover 6 is a decent switch stick defense, so you do want to zone it. I don't think you want your defense switching for you. You can adjust if they're running certain things. And then here in the scenario, you get bunch, bingo, and zone it. I think zone it might really just be the move for cover 6. You can do the stubby and the bingo if you want, depending on what they run. But I just think zoning cover 6 and switch sticking from it is cool. You can try to get adjusty with how you do this. You can put bingo on that for the outside receiver. It actually might be smart to do that if your outside corner is in a flat. So yeah, I actually think that might be the move, bingo here. And then yeah, just bingo, zone it, bingo, zone it. That's really what it is. These settings are pretty cool. Shout out to EA for actually making some of these adjustments like IRL. But I really do think this point combo, and man is the best thing they've added, because this, the bingo, and I think the palms and all that, that's all as close to real life adjustments on defense between DBs as it's probably going to get. There may be some more things you can do. So to go over what we run, if you're running man, keep your motion response on. You want them following if they go across the field. If you're not running man, disable this. Auto flip, up to you. I keep it on, especially in man coverage. Option read key and pitch key, up to you, depending on what your opponent's doing. RPO read key, pass key, depends on your opponent's doing. Strip ball, just leave it on normal. Leave tackling on normal. Cornerback depth, to reiterate what I said. If you trust your corners, you can go on 7. I think a good middle ground is 9 for Madden. Width, I would leave it alone. Safety depth, I would be between 9 and 12. 9 if you're in cover 4. If you're in cover 4, also pinch the safeties. It might be just better to pinch the safeties in general, but if you're in cover 4, 9 yards, pinch safeties. Leave the safety midpoint, fine. I haven't really messed with this conservative aggressive for ball hog. This just seems like there's a scenario where your DB could jump for the ball or pick, and it could have a PI called on you. I haven't had that happen, so you leave it on aggressive for now. I won't end the video without talking about these substitutions. This is up to you. I honestly am very biased on keeping your starters in, so I would put grind it out. I wouldn't let the computer adjust any of this stuff, but I will show you a scenario of which you can see this point combo in action. So let's get this. Let's get a normal man coverage here. And now we want point combo to work, so we're just gonna choose new play real quick. Okay, now let's make sure our adjustments are good. We have point combo, we're good. Just a man coverage. So now, as you can see here, that number 2 corner, head up on that tight end is going to be locked onto him. He won't switch no matter what. So we're going to put him on a streak. We're going to have that guy follow. And now this linebacker with the star on him and that outside corner are going to be playing switch. So if a receiver goes in, the linebacker should take. And if a if the other tight end goes out, the corner should take. So we're going to do that right here so you can see. We're going to put him on a slant, and he's going to be on just a flat route. They should switch. I do think play rec matters now, because there is scenarios where that one of the corners or the linebacker gets sucked to the other opponent that he's not supposed to be on. So that might be something you guys look into. But let's show you guys how it looks. As you can see, they perfectly switch. instead of a scenario where they get bumped. You could do, obviously there's adjustments to do. You don't always have to run base man, but if we're over here, we can see here, number 2 gets a press. I don't think you should press this, by the way. He should be off the ball. So he's covering him. And then you could watch the linebacker here. He's going to be reading the tight end, right? You see that tight end go out to the flat? And then the receiver on the outside do a slant. They switched who they were taking, and then it stopped the bump. Instead, you can see here, the receiver and the tight end bump, and the linebacker in the corner had free run for good coverage. And it's pretty solid. He does get bumped here, but like I said, you can adjust anything. This has nothing to do with combo and point combo not working. This saves your man coverage a ton. You could even do this in dime. You could do it in anything like that. This just makes running man coverage a lot easier. This is what I've been running, not the specific play on defense, but it is man coverage. I'm adjusting the safeties, maybe even this linebacker here, and I've been getting good defensive possessions no matter the team I am playing. But if you guys did enjoy today's video, you want to see more videos like this, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.